at all those birds sitting on those power lines. I'm sure glad that those power lines are insulated. But wait, they aren't. How do you know this if you didn't learn that from someone else? Well, you probably figured it out when you noticed a fried squirrel or two. But what makes the birds different? I decided to take a deeper dive into this so you don't have to. To understand this, you have to understand how electricity flows. You probably learned this in physical science or physics class. If it's been a long time and you've never had to use it, you probably don't remember it. Electricity flows along the shortest and easiest path it can find to get from point A to point B. Electricity moves because of something called potential difference and moves from higher to lower voltage. When electric current moves through the wire and gets to the squirrel's foot, it has a decision to make. Does it keep going through the wire or from the wire through the squirrel's body and back to the wire? Since the shortest distance for the current is through the wire, the current won't move through the body of the squirrel. This is the reason power lines are placed so far apart, so that the squirrel can't put one of its little feet on the adjacent wire. You would have to have a pretty big squirrel for them to straddle power lines. The squirrel is okay as long as it stays on the power line. If the squirrel steps on a transformer or an electric pole with a front foot while leaving the other foot on the wire, this shortens the circuit and the electricity will move through the body of the squirrel and you will end up with roast squirrel. I've been using the term potential difference in this video, but what exactly is it? It's probably valuable to define a few words at this point, so bear with me. Potential energy is energy that is stored due to an object's relative position. This skier, when at the top of the hill, even though not doing anything, has potential energy. When he heads down the hill and is moving, his potential energy then changes to kinetic energy, which is energy of motion. A fully charged battery has potential energy, or the ability to do work. This is its electrical potential. When the battery is placed in a circuit, such as the one here, current will flow from higher potential energy to lower potential energy. We call that potential difference. As long as the battery has enough potential difference, then there is an energy flow, and the light bulb will come on. Current will continue to flow through the circuit until the battery goes from this to this. Dead means that there is zero potential difference. Potential difference is also called voltage. The current, which is called amps, that results because of the potential difference is what electrocutes you, not the voltage. Another example of potential energy is water stored in a water tower. The water at the top of the tower is under pressure because gravity pulls the water down. The water stored at the top of the tower has higher potential energy than the bottom and will flow from the top of the tower, the higher pressure, to the bottom, lower pressure. Now back to the squirrels. Why do we care about whether squirrels get electrocuted or not? Is it because we are in love with these furry cuties? Well, the people that have to deal with our power outages don't care for them. When a squirrel decides it will put one of its furry little paws on a transformer, this not only causes the squirrel to end up in the hereafter, but it may also damage the transformer. If the squirrel is knocked off the power line by the shock, you may only get a blip in your service. However, sometimes they get lodged in the equipment, causing major damage. Squirrels are responsible for almost half of all power outages. There actually is something called a squirrel index, which tracks rodent-related outages. There is something called a squirrel guard that is a rotating wheel installed on the power line. When the squirrel tries to crawl over the wheel spins and they can't get through. Here's a link to a YouTube video showing a squirrel guard in action. Unfortunately, these little cuties also sharpen their teeth by chewing on power lines. I wonder if they get a buzz out of this. Since birds don't actually run on power lines and instead fly off of them, you don't see fried bird as much. If you were Superman, you could do this too. The trick is to never touch the ground, or you would end up strumming that harp along with that cute squirrel. So what about people? Can you be in the same position as that poor little squirrel? After all, I'm sure not that many people have scampered across power lines lately. Getting stuck in a car with down power lines is an example of a person causing a possible short circuit and getting electrocuted. The best scenario is to be in a position where you can call 911 and the utility company can be contacted. Most experts say that the best option is to stay in the car. If that power line is on the car spreads electrical current around it, causing electrical ground through the tires. This is known as a Faraday cage, the same principle that keeps passengers safe when struck by lightning in a plane. You remember Michael Faraday, right? He invented the electric motor. If you do find yourself stuck in your car, don't touch any of the metal parts of the car. If there is a fire where it is dangerous to stay in the car, do the following. Remove clothing that is loose. Open the car door, but don't get out. Stand with both feet together on the threshold of the door. Fold your arms across your chest and jump, making sure that you don't make contact with the car. You never want to be touching both the car and the ground at the same time, or the electricity will go from the car through your body to the ground. Remember, electric current wants to move through the shortest path from higher to lower potential difference, and you don't want to be the one giving it that opportunity. Keep your feet close together and hop like a bunny away from the car until you get at least 30 feet away. Be careful not to touch the ground with your hands. If you feel tingling sensations, keep on hopping. I hope you enjoyed this video and learned a few things. I know I did. If you did, please like, subscribe, and comment below. And remember, don't forget to ring that notification bell to show this old girl some support. A side note, I tried to see if I could get out of my car without touching any metal. Didn't try to jump though. Not sure I wanted to test the old bones.